finally checking out the interview of Mohanlal and Prithviraj with Anupama Chopra for the Hollywood Reporter India. I have a lot of good things about the interview. If you haven't seen the original video, I'll put the link. You can check it on the Hollywood Reporter India channel. There's a reaction to it, not a substitute. Interested to hear what they talked about, and by this time I have seen Empuraan, so the review will be out on the main channel. You can have a look after this. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you really like the content, want to support the channel, you can become a member. Get to watch such reactions early and some memorable videos such as song reactions. I haven't reacted to the song Fir Zinda from Empuraan. To know more, click on the join button and let's have a look.
Lal sir, Prithviraj, welcome to the Hollywood Reporter India.
Thank you.
And congratulations on that smashing trailer.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I love the ambition and the audacity and the way it kind of changes our conception of what a Malayalam film is.
I mean, I guess audacity is the right word. Because, this from the outset was a very aspirational kind of a film, in 2020.
After rewatching Lucifer, right? It's very, like, they kind of planned it in a way where Lucifer is like little grounded just in Kerala, and with L2 we are going global. And that's such a right path to, climb up in a trilogy to make it bigger and bigger. Like, that is structured really well.
Two, when I finally finished my shoot script, which is what I read out to my actor and my producer, even before going to him, I knew that there's a very good chance it's not going to get made.
Why?
Because it's just way too big and way too ambitious for...
Expensive.
Yeah, and not just about the money, the ambition of what I wanted to do with it was, I thought maybe I'm just aiming a
level of the story.
So I went to Dubai to his office and I gave him a reading. And all through I'm thinking, okay, there's a very likely chance of him and Mr. Anthony Perumbavoor giving me a very patient listening and telling me, oh, it's great, but we really don't think this is going to happen. But like I said today in the press meet, I finished reading it and he said, great, we're doing this, let's go for dinner. Like, okay, so he took me home. He has a house in Dubai. He took me home and he was cooking and all that. And I was like, so you realize that, we are doing this. And he said, yeah. So he was just very, very confident that if at all, if at all there was ever a film that aimed to do what we aspire to do with this, it has to be this one.
Yeah.
So full marks actually to his confidence on the script and in me, and also Mr. Anthony Perumbavoor's conviction.
This is such an important point because I'm sure there are so many people who want to tell stories like this, big stories, but not everyone has, the connection to a star and a producer like them, who will say, yes, let's do it. They're like, no, make it this, add songs, add item number, add a heroine, and, they'll change it, or they'll first of all say, no, not possible. So there are not many people who are supporting such big dreams and ambitions.
But like you rightly said, we are really hoping that we get to push the boundaries that have been perceived as ours in terms of mainstream storytelling, scale, cinemas, the size of the canvas, everything. So come 27th, I really, really hope it's a very special day for us and also for our industry.
And as you said, let this film change the fate and destiny of Malayalam films. Because it's nothing, we don't want to prove anything, but we can do great films.
Of course.
And most of the films are very good Malayalam films. But when you compare to the size, we call it as it's a big film. But this is a big film, like as you said. The actors, the locations. But you can see, mostly, you can see what we have done with the film. It is there in the film.
Yeah.
But
money well
spent. Said yes to Lucifer. Of course, that was his first film, right? He's never directed before. I know you're very close. You're living in the same building. You're very close family, friends. But what gave you the faith that he could actually pull this off?
Good question.
See, there is the confidence in him. And like Prithvi is basically a very good actor, a very good storyteller. The way he presented the story and that kind of confidence he has got on the story. Definitely, and I know his family well, I know his father well, mother, and the combination Murali Gopi and Prithvi, they cannot make a bad film. They are not supposed to do that.
See, this is the actual pressure.
Seriously,
it's not the.
They don't have any choice to do that.
Him saying this is the actual pressure, actually.
And the story was amazing, and the concept. and the way he narrated the story and the way he said this is going to happen with the film. And it is not only one film, it's a trilogy, he said, 2, 3. So again, it's a happening. It is destined that Lucifer and this should happen in Malayalam films. That is it's a predestined thing. I don't believe in that, but it's a term called predestined. So, okay, let us come without any hope.
I did an interview with Allu Arjun a couple of months ago, and he said that everybody can do a great job. But finally, only one person delivers a hit, and that is the director.
I actually read they sent me actually the magazine, you'll say, the first magazine they published, and I actually read the interview. It was good.
Do you both agree with that?
I don't, actually.
No?
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it's I can have a vision and I can have command over every craft of cinema. I can claim to have comprehensive knowledge about lighting, about cinematography, about editing, production design, all that. But ultimately, I will then have to designate all these crafts to trusted technicians. And if they don't live up to the potential that I believe they have, then I'm not going to be able to make my vision to its entirety. How much eloquent or clear a director is, I can put it into words what I want exactly. But much like it is with an actor, you can really go and tell them what you want. You can maybe even perform and show them for them to understand what you're thinking in terms of what you want from them. But once you say roll camera, then it's not in your control. You just have to leave it to the actor and trust him or her with it, trust their interpretation of the character with it. Same with the technician. You can sort of handhold them and be very specific about what you want, but ultimately my cinematographer has brought in his vision into the film. My editor has brought in his vision into the film. My production designer, my makeup artist, my costume designer. So I really don't think that it is one person delivering. I think it is one person leading a team that collectively delivers.
And it will vary from films to film. Like as you said, when it's a big film, we should have a beautiful congress. When it's a very personal film, some directors, they will come with 1 or 2 actors. They have their own story. They can do that. But when you do a big film, I agree with him. It is so that's why he'll select only the best people. Normally, the director, I want the best cameraman, best set director, because he has to bring all the things into his film. He needs support.
I think what Allu Arjun's quote meant was that, all of this comes together, but it's the director's bringing it together, right? Like, if his vision is not clear, if he's not fully 100% on what he's making, and, is doubtful and is just trying different things and unsure about it, then it will not become a big hit. He has to be convinced. The director has to be convinced.
Because also when you're making a film where on an average shooting day you have 600 people on location, and there's just a giant unit.
600?
On days, some days, some days, you can't claim to be in control of everything.
Sure.
We might be shooting here, and we wouldn't even know what's happening on another side of the set. They'll be equally involved in the same process, doing something else, but we won't even be aware of it. So it's not like you're in control of everything. That what is happening there, I've trusted someone with that, and they need to deliver. So like I said, it's one man's vision and man or woman's vision, and him or her being able to lead a team where everyone delivers. Only then do you really get the full potential of a project. When we launched the teaser, which is why I went on stage, I called all my technicians up on stage and I told the audience that I truly believe I have the best team in the world. I think my technical crew...
and like some Bollywood films, they don't even bring the writer on stage.
I'm not talking about the cast here, they are anyway world class. My technical crew, they're good enough to go to any part of the world and pull off how big a project in any industry that exists today in the world. That's how good my team is.
No, but you called him a very cruel director.
That's
I think you meant it as a compliment. I think it was
not
a compliment.
that not that. It is somewhere it is true also. Like
Achha, it's not all a compliment. So he is cruel.
No, that is the like he said, he can extract what he wants. It's like a Dracula. He'll draw the blood from that. For the this is called what you can call. That is why the film look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has got his own
Method.
convictions on the film, on actors. So some people say, okay, this shot is okay, but he won't say. He'll come and he will just, he has got some magic. He will just hypnotize you and he'll extract what he wants. That's a great thing.
That's a good quality if a director can do that, right?
Yeah.
It's a compliment for him. So he's a very committed director. And especially for such a film that, if you ask me, do you want that kind of perfection? Definitely, we need that kind of perfection. So many people will say, okay, this is okay. But Prithvi won't say that. That is why his film he has done only 3 films. All the 3, the rest of the 2 films are looking very different. Like Bro Daddy is nothing, you cannot compare with Lucifer.
Yeah.
But you cannot compare Empuraan with those films also. That's the way he makes the film. And every film he is growing, that graph is going high and high. Okay, great.
So tell us about this process, this shooting script that you make after the script has actually come to you. So you have a bound script and then you spend 6 months doing this shooting script, but it's not previs, it's not storyboarding.
No.
What is the shooting script?
I write it myself. I understand my writer's vision. I really I reach a place where I am almost able to narrate the left side and the right side of his script by heart without.
Okay.
I was also told you have a photographic memory.
I don't know about that, but my scripts I do sort of really by heart.
You know the whole thing.
Yeah, I do. And
I think you should, right? That's like not even a question.
He can memorize.
Yeah. Wow.
then I sit down and I put pen to paper and I start writing. So when I then start writing, it's almost like a subconscious exercise where what I have by-hearted and then what I have envisioned sort of debate and argue with each other. And in that
Interesting.
writing, sometimes I change scenes, sometimes I rewrite an entire scene, sometimes I change the screenplay, sometimes I completely change where a scene is happening.
Okay.
And I might sometimes make a particular sequence non-linear in its narration. I do a lot of things like that. And finally, I finish a draft
That is quite visible. Now, having seen Lucifer very fresh, there are a lot of moments like this.
of that script. Then I narrate that script back to my writer. And obviously we disagree a lot. And we argue and we fight and we have all that. And that takes about 2-3 weeks at least, actually. With Lucifer, it was much shorter. I think, with Empuraan, it took slightly longer. And finally, then we reach a place where both of us have sort of, I've given away a little bit, he's given away a little bit. We've reached a mutual place where we both agree, okay, this is okay. That is a script that I then narrate to my actor and my producer. So then what happens is, from the time I get the bound script from my writer to the time my writer and myself agree upon a script that we are going to shoot, I've lived with it so closely for so long that by the time I reach my shooting spot, I almost have like a subconscious shot division in mind. And then I don't need to really be putting it down on a paper or pre-visualizing
Storyboard.
it, or I don't ever have.
That's actually good thing for the team around you. Maybe he feels like in his mind everything is fine, he's sorted. He's a director, it's okay. But yeah, I think it's just a practice of that everyone is on the same page.
A mood board for my films. I don't have a reference that I show my cinematographer. I have pretty much seen it so many times that I'm assuming I'm gifted with the ability of being good with words, so I'm able to tell people what exactly I want.
Articulate
my VFX
it.
supervisors think I'm a nightmare because they don't have a previous to look at. That's how.
But in your head, it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. And I really don't even have an extra shot to do at most times. Like this film, my first cut was 3 hours and 1 minute actually. And
That's
it's 3 hours now.
ridiculous, man.
The day I finished shooting, it was 3 because I edit online as well.
Yeah.
So my online edit, as soon as I finished the online edit, I sort of put the standardized thanks cards, titles, the statutory warning videos, everything with it to know how long the film is. So the day I finished shoot, it was 3 hours and 1 minute, and the film that's going to release is 3 hours.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't think a lot of people in the industry, maybe if it's a small film, but for such big film, that wow.
So I don't know if you've seen A Complete Unknown. It's the biopic of Bob Dylan with Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan.
No.
So there's this lovely moment where he says that people ask me, where do the songs come from? But when I look at their faces, I know that they're not actually saying, where do the songs come from? They're saying, why don't the songs come to me?
That's beautiful. Oh.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know? So
It is.
he says, when you're good, it
I've not seen the film.
produces admiration, but it also produces unspoken envy. And you're not good, you're great, right? And you're very you don't want to intellectualize your process of acting. You've always said it's a blessing. Do you find this to be true, that you do arouse a lot of envy?
It's a very difficult question. Envy in the sense
Because you make it look so effortless, and you speak about it in a way that you feel like
it is like I think any actors can do. Like, it's not acting. This is more of reacting, and I call it as a kind of meditation happening. Maybe if you are very serious into that. Especially on the stage. I do a lot of stage shows also. So in film, we have a lot of choices. But between the action and cut, if you can, it's kind of vanishing. And Mohanlal is vanishing and the character comes. And again, the other character will vanish when they say cut. It's a process. And that is called the gift. That's called the blessing. So envy, I don't know about that particular word. But it is... effortless means, but this is a beautiful process, and you're getting a character. And see, in my case, my last film that just I'm coming out is from the set of Mr. Satyanandika. I'm doing.
Oh, he's doing a film with him.
I had an open heart surgery, so I don't know how you feel that after open heart surgery. So what I'll do before the shoot, I'll just go and pray. Please help me. Seriously, this is the way I do. And after 1 or 2 days, slowly, what you can call it will all come to me. The character, the walking, maybe sometimes there are particular, after I did a Tanmatra, a lot of doctors came and asked me, this is the way, did you observe all the Alzheimer's patient? I said, no. So this is a blessing. Because
wow. It's very much what I don't know if Fahad feels the same. Maybe he prepares, but it's very much like him. He doesn't intellectualizes what really happens. He just I just do it, things, it comes to me, and wow.
Gestures they do, I have produced in that film. That's only a doctor can find out. He said, no, Mohanlal, you must have observed a lot of Alzheimer's patients. I said, things seriously. And it happens in so many films. So, as you said, this is like a beautiful song. It's coming to you from the Almighty. It's a blessing.
Prithvi, did directing him make you a better actor?
I definitely think so.
Hannah?
I definitely think so. See, obviously, I can't sort of steal his skill set or anything, because that's impossible to do. But as a director, you have this privilege of being let into the process of an actor. An actor can only work with the director that way. You sort of unknowingly let him or her into your process. And I've had the privilege of being let into that process with him for 3 films now. Not just him, great actors like Manju, even for that matter, my brother Indrajit, Abhimanyu Singh, or Sukant Goel. What a brilliant actor, Sukant Goel. All these people now, when they collaborate with you as a filmmaker, they also let you into their process as an actor. And there is something to learn in each one of those processes, in how they think, what their mechanism is. And I'm assuming, even though I've not gone back home every day after shoot and written down notes, I'm assuming a lot of it has stayed with me. Yeah. And it is sort of created a collective conscience bank maybe inside of me, where maybe now when I do something, I'll suddenly, hey, how did I think of that? I wouldn't be able to place it, but it could be something he did one day on set, or something someone else did. So I definitely do think that, I'm if
It's like you are exposed to so many different ways, and something or the other you catch on, and that kind of one day you also do that. It happens a lot.
if nothing else, I think I'm a wiser actor having directed.
Like if you are with someone, right, and they talk in a different way, or like if you go, if you live somewhere else in your life and then you have moved to somewhere else, and the more time you live there, you suddenly, the words you start saying, you kind of pick it up from people. I don't know if you have noticed this. I have traveled a lot, so when I went, from Delhi to Goa, then after staying in Goa, the way I speak Hindi is kind of changed. That's some of the words I use are what people here who are Goans who use those Hindi terms. So when I go back north, people are saying, "Hey, how you're saying it? What's so different? What is this word?" So it's a different. Even when I went to Mumbai, suddenly your slang changes. Just the words you choose changes. So it happens.
These 3 films with him, yeah.
It's a beautiful voice actor.
And he's gone straight to Mr. Rajamouli, so what could be better, right?
Well, now that I mean the leaked videos and all are out, I'm assuming I can't tell you I went sightseeing to Orissa with Mahesh. So
We were not buying that ever, Prithvi. And you know that I'm taking credit for this because you remember the round table where you and Rajamouli met.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if that was the first time, but I remember they said to each other, "Oh, come after the round table was done. There was some coffee or some dinner or something you guys planned." And I said, "If you two work together, I'm taking credit."
No, I mean, it happened actually much after that. I mean, that day we just...
You can just still help me.
It's all yours, Anupama. It's all yours.
You know, what I loved about Lucifer was how, of course, it's a popcorn entertainer, right? It's a big masala movie that you're supposed to go into a theater and enjoy.
Not masala.
But you also slipped in some fairly stinging social commentary.
Not little, not like there was a lot of like watching it again. Maybe it's a time I've grown up and I've understand the world better. There are also many social commentary and so much dialogues, just straight hard hitting dialogues and not taking a step back at all. So I was like, whoa, that was quite bold then.
Right, so there is that one moment where Toby's character, Jatin Das says that what's something like this is the world's biggest comedy. It's called Indian politics, and then there's that other moment where the head of the television company is telling his partner that
Idealism is dead.
Yeah, idealism, my darling, is dead. is his exact line. Why was that important to you as a storyteller?
Well, see, there's a lot of observation / satirical remarks in both films of these franchises so far, and it will be the same for the third film as well. My writer, Mr. Murali Gopi, is an extremely strong observer and even narrator of society that way. He has very strong views, like myself, on things that are happening around us. But we are also aware that you can't really make your film a 3-hour-long messaging, newsreel. A film has to first work on its superficial layer, if you have to give a really sour medicine to a 3-year-old baby, it has to be packaged in a really bright, nice-looking capsule. So we knew that all the messaging and all the jibes and all the satirical remarks that we wanted to make will have to exist in a secondary layer. But that will need to exist because it is those moments in the film that I believe makes a film like Lucifer worthy of a rewatch.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If it were just Lal sir coming in slow motion and beating up people and all that, I don't think you could just watch that on an Instagram reel. But I know a lot of people who still sit through 3 hours of Lucifer. When it comes on television on a Sunday, or if they want to one day after work, they can go into Amazon Prime and rewatch the film. A lot of people still do it. I think it's the secondary layer of this messaging and really sharp social satire that exists in the film. That is important to me. I do think I would always like to make cinema that people would like to revisit. For that matter, one of the most like consistent compliments I have received even for a film like Bro Daddy is that we love watching it again. You know, so Asianet, Hotstar, that holds the satellite and digital rights of the film, they've consistently told me this is one of our biggest hits on the platform, because even today, come one Sunday, if we put it on prime time, we get such and such numbers, because I know people who work there, which sort of tells me that people like watching the film again. That is one of the most beautiful qualities a piece of cinema can have. For that matter, a piece of art can have. Greatest painting would be one that makes you slow down each time you walk past it. No?
Wow.
So it's a bit like that.
Nice.
Well said.
Nice. But it's also, there's meat on the story, right? There's so many characters, so many relationships, so much drama.
And I think the balance of that is really well done. I think one of his interviews talked about Dark Knight, and I can see that how Dark Knight also has so many, moving parts and how they club it together, edit it together. And I think may have influenced how Lucifer is structured in a sense where it all just comes together, plays together.
What was the process of creating arcs for 2 and then for 3?
Yeah. So, right from the first time the ideation of the whole world started, we knew that back then we only knew that the story is too long for one film, and it really can't be sort of cut short that way. So when we started ideating on this back in 2016 or 16, I think, the franchise / universe / part 1, part 2, part 3 had not made a fashionable entrance. So we didn't even know how are we going to put this across to a producer or anyone for that matter. So Murli and I decided that, okay, we're going to make this film and we're going to leave enough in there. If that film works, maybe we can do a part 2. But the film doesn't work, it should still exist as okay, they did a film and it's a complete film in itself as far as story and narration is concerned. So we did that with part 1 and we never spoke about a part 2 till the 50th day celebration of part 1. Because both of us knew if part 1 is a disaster, what's the point in sitting there and going, we actually have a part 2 and part 3. Nobody would want to see it.
Stephen has more.
Yeah, but nobody would want to see it, right? So when part 1 became a big success, then we decided that, okay, let's, now we can go and tell the world that we actually have a second part and a third part to this. Part 1 we sort of ended safely, because even if there is no part 2, it's still there, the film is there, right? Part 2 not so safely, because it ends at
almost 3 hours to go. Yeah, 3 hours to the movie.
Cliffhanger of sorts, where now to complete this story, I will have to make part 3. That's how it finishes.
Oh man.
But like you said, even when we deep down decided that if the film does not work, it is only going to be a single film, we knew that the arc of each character that exists across the 3 films, we knew where it was. Where is the beginning, where is the end, what it will go through. Even in part 2, all the new characters that have been introduced in part 2, we have an arc for them till end of part 3. So I think it's very complex and chaotic that way, but it's also beautifully coherent, and that is entirely
that is very important.
Skill of my very highly rated writer, Mr. Murali Gopi. I can't take any claim for it, because he's extremely equipped in that sense that he has this beautiful faculty of creating a chaos around you.
Man, the words he uses, man, faculty and coherence, and I maybe sometimes use the words in my review, but I have to write those words down. I have to Google it, and what's the word synonym for this, and then I frame it like him just coming on just thinking and just going on and coming out with amazing words. Amazing.
Then taking you through a very coherent narrative through the chaos, which is very much how the film is. If you remember how Lucifer starts, the film opens into chaos. Like it's chaos and confusion everywhere, and then the story begins. It's pretty much like that in part 2 also. Yeah.
And moreover, it's very difficult to make a sequel.
It is.
It's a big challenging thing.
Yeah.
But normally, even I have done so many films in sequel. They have created a universe. That's a correct word that you said. They've already created, and they have a very strong base. But some of the other films, after the success of the film, they'll think about the sequel. But now this is fixed. Only thing, 1 is hit, then we'll do this 2. 2 is hit, then we'll do this. And 3 is hit, we can do the 4 also.
3 is the end of the franchise.
He's not thinking beyond 3. That's good. Very clear.
like participate in this process at all? Like, do you ever give notes on, I feel Stephen can do this, but he shouldn't do this? Not at all.
No, why should I?
You do what is on the paper.
Yeah, it is because nothing to make a comment on that. It is so precise and it's a very well crafted thing, you know. So when you read that, yeah, excellent. That is why should I go and Stephen should be like that? Because I don't know Stephen. They know Stephen very well. Because
No, but he makes these amazing observations on the character that sometimes even as a filmmaker or a writer that even we miss. So I remember when we were doing part one, day one of shooting in a church, I remember him coming in and telling me, this Stephen is just always sad. And I'm like, oh yeah, he is actually always sad. You know,
Yeah.
even when he is Qureshi Abram, he still has a lot of sorrow in him. So I think that's his gift, that he immediately understood that I don't know what an equivalent term in English would be, sthai bhavam, you know, like what's your status of rest as a character?
What's the soul?
No, the status of rest as a character. From which emotion, upon what emotion do you build rest of the character on?
Man, he's not finding a right word for it. Like, I'm way far.
What's the foundation?
Yeah, and that's sorrow for Stephen.
Yeah.
And you know, that's he sort of voiced it out to me, and I'm like, oh, that's so pinpoint. That's great. So he makes these wonderful observations about multiple characters in the film. Yeah.
But I think Stephen could also be a sort of cousin of George Coutinho.
even George Coutinho, I don't know.
Sorrow, no?
But he's a brilliant character, George
brilliant.
Coutinho.
And they both
Even I
come
don't
from
know what is in his mind.
Yeah.
Same thing with Stephen also. These are all very rarely an actor will get characters like this. Yeah. Even I don't know about him. I don't know about Stephen. What all things he carry in his mind and what all things he are doing. He's a very strange characters like George Coutinho also. How he's planning. And we cannot emote the real emotions to the film. That is a main challenge of an actor. Even here also, sometimes the sorrow, that Sai Bhava, whatever he means, but he is carrying a lot of emotions on his shoulder. Same thing with the Drishyam, he cannot show what is in his mind.
Yeah.
So you have to act opposite.
Exactly. You know, I also love that in Lucifer, your first action sequence was actually an hour into the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
In the factory, old factory.
He's only there in the film for about 40 minutes in Lucifer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not realize that.
And the film is 2 hour 52. And so 2 hour 10 minutes is just everything else.
About 2 hours, 57 minutes long, and he's there for about 41 minutes.
Because it was so amazing to me that you waited that long and it was so stylishly done, and you just pick up that mundu and you're just destroying all these baddies. But I want to talk a little bit about like action and violence, because this was 2019, right? Since then, the bar for violence in films just seems to have gone through another level. I mean, honestly, as I was watching Marco, I was like, I cannot believe I'm seeing what I'm seeing. What is your take on it? Like, what do you think? How much can you get an audience to accept?
It is not the violence, it's a situation. If the situation demands that kind of bloodshed, then it is fine.
You have to justify it.
You have to justify. That is the thing. Like, otherwise, we have a difference of opinion. If the character, if the situation demands, then I think am I right?
Very true, but also I disagree with people having a problem with a film like Marco, because it never pretended to be anything
Not
else.
at all, of course.
Because at least for us,
that's true.
For us, I know Unni is a friend, and so I know that from the time they set about to make the film, the first announcement itself was about violence.
Yeah.
You're going to see never before violence. It's basically voyeurism upon violence. It's like a slasher film on steroids. That's what they kept saying. They never fooled you into thinking it was something else. They kept saying it was the most violent film, the most violent film. And then you go watch it and you complain about the violence. Come on. I mean,
I just didn't expect to see.
Only few films. But if the situation needed that kind of film, and like you said, already this is going to be a film.
I think this is where the divide comes between the people who are making films versus people who are watching and analyzing those films, and because their perspective, what happens is that gets skewed because they are looking at it as a what it's going to impact the society and the cultural importance of it and everything, all that things. But when the filmmaker is making a film, he just wants to make that film. His vision he wants to put on the screen. He's not thinking about 10 different things and who will get offended and should I show this and kids will learn different things from them. He just wants to make this film what he's thinking in his mind. It's just from the outside to put that in the context of the world we live in and say, oh, this film is promoting violence and this and that, and the filmmaker is not ever thinking in that sense at all. His only priority is to get everything on screen what he wanted to weigh the vision he wants, and that's what only thing he's working towards. So sometimes these criticisms like it applies on the society we live in. Like if someone is watching Marco and learning something wrong from it, then that's a society is not doing a great job at educating that guy or whoever getting influenced by that. Like if someone is smoking in the film, that should not influence if you have raised the kid really well, right? So it's a society that you have, like, don't blame these, like don't stop others from doing something because it may change the things around you. Make things around you better, so that it doesn't get affected by all that's happening.
Like that.
So you know what you're walking into, correct? But does it, as a storyteller, put pressure on what you do for 2, for 3, because you're also creating action?
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't. Because also, you need to contextualize your action and violence. You can't really think of a particular action sequence and then write your screenplay to that. At least for me, the action sequence
That was Marco though.
has to organically come within a screenplay. Now, when I say this, when you're talking about mainstream big ticket masala action films, people would think, oh, that's very easy in a film like that. It is not. One of the toughest things to do is to get people to organically have goosebumps. That's a very tough thing to do as a filmmaker and a writer. There's so much of thought process that you need to put into writing, shot division, how you're going to do all that in terms of when people, for you to make people go wow in theater. It's not very easy. So you have to organically follow that process and then see where that leads you into your action choreography. There is a lot of violence in Empuraan. It is not all butterflies and rose petals. There is there is a lot of action, a lot of violence, but there is not a single sequence where I have indulged the filmmaker in me to be shooting violence. No, it's I'm following narrative. And when I say narrative, even an action sequence where it could be a protagonist beating down 20 people. Within the action sequence, you need to have a narrative, or else it's going to get boring for you. 5 minutes of action can get boring if there is no narrative in it. So you have to then design that narrative, and you keep following that narrative to see where you are taking the violence, where you're taking the choreography to. So I believe, and that's how I shoot. Whether it's worked or not is for the audience to tell me.
It's again like a choreography. It's a beautiful dance.
Yeah.
If you don't do it properly, then you will feel, oh, it's not good. Same thing with the action also. It's a beautiful choreography, and the situation demands, and like you say, you have to shoot it properly.
I love shooting action. I really like shooting action because
Why?
So I'll tell you why. Because I think I learned filmmaking through shooting action sequences.
Okay.
I started filming independently long back when I was doing films where sometimes you could not afford action directors. My directors started realizing I have a knack for this. I'll tell you specifically who. Padma Kumar. Actually, he's done a film with him also. Padma Kumar's first film called Vargam is the first time I shot something for myself, which was the action sequence in that film. And then it turned
That's how I think that Kida of being a director has come in.
out so good that when he did his second film, he already decided that the climax I will shoot. So I had shot the climax action sequence of Vastavam also. Then later on, I started filming action sequences for films, and I sort of learned my grammar of, okay, how do you cut
Direction.
axes, how do you know all that by shooting action, because action is where you have a lot of cuts and you need to have your edit in mind and all that. And those days we used to shoot in film, and raw stock was an expensive commodity, and Malayalam cinema was not an industry where you can shoot a film with 600 cans of film, just laying by your side. So we had to make calculations. I had to ask.
Man, shooting on film feels such a nightmare today, right? Like like this is not possible. Me recording this video, if it was in film, of course it would not have happen. Like where would I upload it? But the whole point that I can just sit at home and have a camera just recording for so long, like crazy.
My cinematography assistant, how many cans do we have on location? So he'd say, okay, there's about 270 feet remaining on the can that's on camera. Then we have 4 more cans, so I have to make a calculation.
So you plot it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's about 1,600 plus 270 is 1,870 feet of film. So how do we do this? So all that I had to, that's why I learned the technicalities of how to shoot a particular sequence. So I still
That's
love
a
shooting
great
action. And if
learning.
you love shooting action and you get Mohanlal, it's you kind of really then sort of yeah.
It's not easy to shoot an action. It's very difficult. You have to convince the people. It's a big
No, but
challenge.
I really like shooting action with him because he's just quite good at it, for one.
Like everything else.
Yeah, no, with action he says, but I know he's got this glee, when we shoot action. He really enjoys it. So I said this to another interviewer yesterday, I think. There is not a single dupe shot in my film. There is not a single face replacement shot in my film.
Wow.
When it eventually comes on a streaming service, you can pause and look at the action sequences. Not a single shot is there which is not done by himself. And the
Wow.
action choreography in the film is such that at multiple times, I have myself and Silva, my action choreographer, we have sort of deviated into these long choreographed shots where it's basically 5 cameras on the same track. I want to try something which I've tried, which required the actor to learn and by heart long bits of choreography and do it in a single shot.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to pull that off if it was, if it was someone else. His physical agility is very surprising. I'm going to say is with him. For his age, it's very, very surprising. And also he's very good with memorizing action. Yeah.
Well, you were so good in Malaikota. It was just to see you do that was just so
He's a
phenomenal.
state wrestling champion.
Really?
Oh, you don't know that? Yeah, he's a
Whoa.
Gusti champion.
I didn't know that.
When I was in my college.
Yeah. Trained in gymnastics and all that.
Wow. And
Also, looking at his size and all, it doesn't show. Maybe that's also a very factor that you don't even realize.
so this is also your 45th year as an actor.
47th.
47 because 1980 was the first film
When
released.
I started in my
His first film never released.
Yeah,
Correct.
in
So it was-
1978.
December was
1978, September 3rd was my
first shot. So you said to me the last time we did an interview that the day acting feels like a job, I'll quit.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not a job, right?
It's not a job also, like...
How do you stay in love?
like people like him.
See, that's a compliment.
Yeah, seriously. This is a beautiful profession. If you are healthy, at the age of 92, Clint Eastwood is directing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many people are Anthony Hopkins acting.
Yeah.
Amitabh Bachchan sir is acting. A lot of people. So basically,
Amitabh Bachchan did an action movie also.
it's a gifted profession. So if you are healthy, you can do. So sometimes you will feel, my God, this is too much. I have to stop. This is a process. Every career, there will be a time you will feel that, oh my God, I have to stop this. But this is a very vicious circle.
You should see how happy he is on set. I sometimes when you're filming, you would think that when a giant superstar walks onto set, everybody would go like, okay, he's coming.
Yeah.
Right? But I've noticed this so many times that I'd be sitting behind the monitor in a video village, and somebody would come and tell me, Lal sir has come. And when he gets out of the car and he starts walking, the whole set, rather than go, oh, he's come, they all become happy. Because Lal sir has come, yeah. They all become happy because he brings that vibe to the set.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because the stories you hear, like, if your presence makes people happy, what else do you need in life, right? Like, if people want to be around you, if they love having your company, like, that's the biggest accomplishment, I would say.
Which sort of tells you how much fun he has coming to shoot every day. And that's what I keep repeating in every interview. Both these guys, Mammootty sir and Mohanlal sir, I think the greatest quality that they have is that they still love it so much, you know, so much.
It's still exciting.
Yeah, nothing to prove to the world anymore, and you know, it's just they are not doing it for fame anymore. They're both very rich, I know, and you know, so they just come for the fun of it, and that's such
the joy.
Yeah, that's so joyful to watch from outside as well.
Yeah. Okay, last couple of questions. What can you tell us about part 3? Have we shot it already?
No, I don't know. Yes, you have to wait.
No, I haven't shot part 3.
Nothing.
Like I said, only if part 2 works can I even start thinking of part 3. And people keep saying that part 2
Already, I think 80 crores in pre-booking.
is a big film. I'm not saying that it's a small budgeted film.
150 crores is what I read.
No, I would like to tell you that what you feel is the budget after watching the film is the budget. And I have put an open challenge to my producer that nobody is going to guess
what the budget is
as low as the actual budget.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's my...
I've heard 100 crores, not 150. Like first one was 30, he said in an interview. And I feel like this could be 80 or 90, 100, somewhere like that.
in camera.
That's my challenge to the producer.
Wow.
But anyway, what you think is a budget is a budget of film. But
What you said is not.
Yeah, so if I have to make part 3, then I would like to really sort of open up and do a big film.
Nice.
Bigger.
Big film. You want to make a big film. This is a very small film for it.
That's right.
It's a beautiful. See, something you have to think big.
Absolutely. So nothing. It wasn't like what Manisha did with PS1 and PS2.
No, I can't. Because part 3 again takes you into a completely new world.
Yeah.
Oh.
You will know when you see part 2.
Okay.
So, I have a request. Please watch the end scroll titles of Empuraan. Like part 1, there is an end scroll title. Watch it, read it carefully.
Watching Lucifer, I had to actually pause at the end to read everything. In theater, we just go too fast, so we'll have to do something about that.
See all the newsreels and quotes and everything, and don't leave the theater before that.
Nice.
Okay.
You will realize whether part 3 is going to happen or not.
Yeah.
So lots of Easter eggs that you put in.
I'll give you a hint of what the world is going to look like. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and where are we on Drishyam 3?
Oh, I'd like to know.
Same thing. It's a major. We are planning to come out with Drishyam 3.
The script is ready?
Not yet. Finally, almost it's in Jitu's. But we have to do because a lot of inquiries are coming. So you are also asking. So if I am lucky, I'll come and sit in front of you discussing Drishyam.
George Kruti, I would like to hang with him again. He's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
So it's still in the works.
Yeah, right.
And what was it like with Mr. Rajamouli?
I'm a huge fan, yeah.
We started the shoot, huh?
I'm not supposed to say, Jeta.
Okay. No, not Rajamouli's film.
Yeah, that's what. It's supposed to be like...
No, I'm asking about Empuraan 3.
Nice one.
There will be a time when we can speak about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if I ask also, he'll say the same thing.
He'll say the same thing. Exactly.
No. I don't know about that. So, I know even still I don't know whether we started or not.
Because it's been like more than a year now since I've sort of technically said yes to it and all. So I might as well wait till
But how exciting!
I'm in awe of him as a filmmaker.
More than him, we are all excited.
I'm a huge fan. I've put it out there saying that as a filmmaker, my inspiration is to be trying able to do something for my industry, like what he did for the Telugu film industry. He's a visionary. He's an absolute visionary. Yeah. And you realize why when you are with him in close quarters. It is... What a hardworking filmmaker! My God, I'd love to talk about this in detail one day. Yeah,
and we will.
Yeah,
we will. But thank you so much.
Interview booked.
And again, cannot wait to see Empuraan.
Thank you so much.
Same. I was, just looking at the time, glancing over throughout the reaction. 2 hours more 2 hours more and I'll be, in the theater sitting watching the film. But very excited. Great interview. A lot of insights, more insights, I think, than the other interviews I've seen about the process. And M3 is happening easily, right? L3, not M3, L3. And the ending credits, like, they need to make it slower. It goes too far. Otherwise, you have to record it, to see what was all there and what other world are they going to create. They already created this underworld where, things happen and Illuminati and all. Like, what other world exists now? So it'll be interesting. And how can you make something bigger than global? Are you going to space? Is it Fast and Furious? No, I don't think so. But yeah, there's a lot of hype. I think just calm down, just see what they are telling you and the story they're telling. I'm not opening social media, I'm not checking out anything, I don't want any spoilers, don't want to even know what people are saying about the film. So I'm trying to save myself from it. But yeah, very excited. By the time you're watching this, the reviews are on the main channel, you can check it out. And again, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out this video next if you haven't, and I will see you next time.